Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hadn't been planning to make this particular video. In fact, I canceled doing a stream this past weekend specifically to avoid doing this kind of video. I want to start with a quote. It's often attributed to Edmund Burke. Even John F. Kennedy attributed it to him, although he didn't say it. Apparently, the oldest form was said by John Stuart Mill in 1867. Um, I'm going to quote the version most people know, which is the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Let me be very clear. While I'm not a complete pacifist, I do think violence is acceptable in extreme circumstances. I am generally anti-violence and anti-war without incredibly good justification. I do not support or condone the rioting and looting that is going on in the United States. And I've lost some friends over the fact I've taken a hardline stance of no, I don't support burning building businesses to the ground or robbing. The ends do not justify the means. But that's not what I want to talk about today. Because something really horrible happened last night. And morally speaking, I can't not say something about it. As most of you are probably aware, last night, President Donald Trump felt the need to take a walk over to St. John's Church near Lafayette Square and ordered officers. The order was given to officers to fire tear gas into a completely peaceful, nonviolent protest. These weren't people who were rioting. These weren't people that were looting. These weren't people that had offered any kind of violence. And on behalf of the President of the United States, these people were attacked. And these people were attacked so that Trump could then go stand in front of the church, hold up a Bible, and say something antithetical to what Christ taught. Heck, the priest of the church that he decided to have his little talk in front of got kicked out of the area. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. It's insane to me that a sitting president of the United States would tolerate, let alone allow, officers to fire tear gas into a peaceful group for what amounted to a photo op. I don't condone that. This is the thing about not condoning violence. I do not, as I said, I don't support rioting. I don't support looting. I do not support arson, assault, or murder as a way to push an agenda across. Even if I agree with the morals of the agenda, and let's be clear, I absolutely agree that the situation in the police departments in the United States needs to change. But if I'm going to take the moral high ground and say that violence is unacceptable, I got to put my money where my mouth is and condemn what, in my opinion, was an act of war against the United States by our own president. The president ordered an attack on American citizens. If the U.S. had done what he did to any other country in the world, it'd be defined as an act of war. Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution defines treason as making war against the U.S. or giving aid and support to those who do. I may lose subscribers over this. I don't care. I could use the subscribers. I'm hurting me. 5 years. I haven't hit 1,000 subscribers yet. I don't care. You do not attack innocent, unarmed civilians who are exercising their First Amendment right. Ever. There is no situation in which what happened is acceptable. It wasn't. It was before curfew. They weren't armed. They weren't committing violent acts. They weren't robbing. They weren't looting. They weren't setting fires. They weren't beating people up. They were doing nothing to deserve what was done to them. I'm not gonna tell people who to vote for. That's not who I am. But for God's sakes, remember this in November. Ask yourself some really hard questions about what kind of president you want. Um, I want to also point folks to my friend Soros the Skeptic, who's been speaking out. Um, I don't entirely agree with everything he said, just because he's, for lack of a better way of putting it, a little more forgiving of violence than I am, which I can understand. I am taking kind of a hardline pacifist stance here, in saying that I don't agree. I just don't agree with it. But he is trying, specifically with trying to raise. I don't know if he's still at it. I imagine he and his partner still are. But when I last listened to him this morning, he was going on a binge stream on Twitch, trying to raise money to help get peaceful protesters out of who had been arrested out on bail. And that's something I can get behind. I also wanted to point to the Legal Eagle stream, which is a stream I'm very fond of. He did a video about what happened last night, and those if you don't know Legal Eagle, it's a really good channel. And he's a very calm, collected. The man's a lawyer, for goodness sakes, an experienced one at that, who currently lives in DC apparently. And how emotional he got was a shock for somebody who's listened to him as long as I have. I completely agree with him, but I have to give credit. I doubt he'll ever see this, but credit where credit's due. He pointed out that where are the freedom of religion supporters? Because the fact that Trump decided to hold up a Bible while kicking a priest out of his own church to push this agenda while committing an act of violence. This is not an acceptable. If you do not support rioting and looting and violence from protesters, don't support it from the government when it's being aimed at innocent people. So anybody who's listening to this that gets involved in the protests, God bless you. I hope you're safe. I hope that you don't have anything as despicable as that happen to you. Try to be better than, and I would ask that you try to be better than the people that are resorting to burning businesses down. Because the reality is, it's not the rich and the power. Riots aren't going to hurt the rich and the powerful. They're going to hurt other minority groups. In '92, when there was the riots after Rodney King verdict, it wasn't white people whose businesses were burning. It wasn't white people who got beaten up and shot. A lot of them were Koreans. A lot of them were Latino. Because here's the ugly reality of it. The cops, and especially the racist cops, but the cops, the cops are going to be ordered to protect the rich people's businesses. If the National Guard gets sent in, they're going to be around the big corporations. And the people that are committing acts of violence are going to go for the easier target. Innocent people should not suffer. I don't care if it's a, a building being burned down as a supposed form of protest. I don't care if it's a president wants a photo op, so they're firing tear gas canisters into a peaceful protest. This isn't okay. I'm really, I'm frightened. I'm worried about where this country is going. Um, and I really hope people are, give, wherever you sit in the political spectrum, whether you support Trump or not, take a good look at what's going on around you. November 2020, we get to make a decision about the next 4 years of this country. Think hard about making the right one. That's going to be it. I apologize for getting political, but some things have got to be said. Damn it. Um, I'll be back Saturday with a show that won't be about any of this. Um, but until then, folks, have a good day. Stay safe out there, and God bless.